next up, we've got Excalibur, number 19. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is my pick of the week.
You gonna ring your bell?
It's not working, but
Oh.
insert gong noise. Blah, I got to get it fixed. Gong. Essentially, this is my pick of the week, and it really isn't. I mean, it has action in it, but there's a lot of like story-driven shit that happens in this book, and it's so good. And I think this is right in Tini Howard's was it Lighthouse? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Wheelhouse.
It's
in her lighthouse.
It's in her lighthouse. Well, it is in her lighthouse. They have a lighthouse in the book. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I think there's always been this mystery between Betsy and Kwannon, and they've shared a body. They've shared essentially two minds, and so they're forever linked, right? Like, or at least we've made that assumption through the X books, and it's kind of confirmed in this. Like, every time that these two characters meet, Psylocke is always like, "Get the fuck away from me! I hate you! I want nothing to do with you."
Right. And
in this book, it's almost as if Psylocke has come to terms. She may not like it, but she's come to terms with the fact that Betsy and Kwannon are always going to be linked. They're always going to be one. Mm-hmm. And she comes out looking really wise in this book, and I really dig it. Like, she's almost like she's accepted it finally, and now she needs to, Betsy has been reaching out to Psylocke continuously in this Excalibur run. Anytime they come together, she's like, "Hey, let's talk," and Psylocke's like, "Fuck you, bitch. I don't want to talk to you." Yeah. And so we finally kind of get a moment where the two can finally reconcile. It, in some sense. I'm not saying it's completely, rainbow and roses right now. Like, it's clearly not. Right. But Psylocke steps up to save Betsy in this book, right? Mm-hmm. And we get a confirmation that the Captain Britain Corps is not complete, obviously, because our Betsy from 616 is missing. And what we find out is that she's jumping consciousnesses through the multiverse. She's just creating chaos wherever she goes. And so that's, the only thing I can say about this book that I wish this storyline had been drawn out 2 more issues. Because mm-hmm. I think we could have seen, we got a little bit of it with the Queen, Betsy coming in. So we did get a little taste of it, but I feel like we could have gotten, at least 2 more Betsy jumping into other versions of herself and disrupting things in the multiverse. And we might get that later. We might get
I think we will.
A repercussion thing. But anyway, in this issue, basically, we find out that Jamie did something right on purpose. A few issues back, he had Betsy's body cloned or recreated by Sinister. No, go for it.
I was just saying that I think that something terrible that he did somehow worked out to be beneficial is maybe a better way to put it.
Okay, there you go.
He definitely didn't do that with the thought process.
Hell no, not at all. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just he did something in a selfish manner, and it ended up working out perfectly for Krakoa and Excalibur. And so, our group, Rogue, Jubilee, Gambit, Richter... I'm missing someone. Anyway... They are. Who am I missing? No? Okay. They basically, Richter wants to resurrect Betsy. She, they're trying to figure out a way to bring back her body, or her physical soul to her body. And so they've set up this circle, and they're using Apocalypse's grimoire, and he's kind of scratched things out. There's a data page where he's trying to do it on his own. And it's not working because there's something not in the mix. And that's when Psylocke shows up, and she's like, it's because her soul's in distress. She doesn't want to come back. Her soul, in order for her to really be reunited with her body, she needs to have some sense of fear to go back to her body. She's too comfortable what she's doing.
Right.
And so she goes into Otherworld and tracks down her body, and they have this, multi-page therapy session. I mean,
pretty much.
Essentially, that's what they do, and I feel like this is Kwannon having a growing up moment. You know, she realizes that she needs to save Betsy. She realizes that she's putting her differences aside and she's helping her fellow mutant. And we just haven't seen that from her in all of the new X books since Hickman has started. You know, she's been very conflicted. I would even say selfish. And we just don't see that in this book. Howard writes her as someone that's grown up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I would want to point out too, just the one thing that I love about the entire X line right now is I think some of the best artwork in all of Marvel is coming in the entire X line. Some I think hit the mark better than others, but I think for this book, Marcus Toad does an exceptional job. Mm-hmm. And the part where you said, Kwannon and Betsy are kind of having a therapy session. I just want to point this, or like show that double page spread, like just the color here and like the motion. It's really hard to see on the camera, but like, there's like 20 different shades of purple on this page, but like it works so well and it looks really good.
And I'll say the cover on this book is fantastic too. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and Howard really flexes her writing chops in this book, and I guess I'm just extremely impressed with how she wrote Psylocke. Like, we like I said, like we've said before, like we get little snippets of Psylocke throughout the X books right now, where she's just really bitter, and I get that. I mean, shit, you weren't in your body forever. Like your body was snatched from you, and you just weren't existing, and so someone else was living your life. And there's a lot you don't just get over that, like there is a growing process, and I feel like Howard really tapped into that and showed all the X readers like that she's grown up a little bit. Now, I think the tone will be different in Hellions. Like in Hellions, Sinister's holding something over Psylocke's head that she can't get away from. But in this book, it's just like I wouldn't say she's taking responsibility, but I feel like she's being the better person or the better mutant by showing Betsy the way and really clearing her mind in this book.
Yep.
So, the crazy part about this book, and again, this is a character I have no clue who it is, but what we find out is that Betsy's body was being possessed, or something is being possessed by a being called Malice, which apparently has some weight. I don't know who that character is, but when I saw people talking or commenting on Tini Howard's post, they're like, "Oh, Malice! Like, I hope this character gets a lot more development. I really hope you write this character more." Mm-hmm. So, like, there's definitely a following and history behind the character that pops out in this book, out of Betsy. And I guess the other thing I'm interested in is, Betsy's body is a clone from Sinister. We're assuming that her old body literally was shattered into 1,000 pieces in Ten of Swords, but I don't think we should forget that. I don't think we should forget that there's a possibility that this whole jumping bodies thing could backfire. I think, like you said, we're gonna see the ramifications of Betsy jumping through multiverses and other personalities, and I think that's where this book is headed.
Yeah. I just started reading the original Excalibur this week. All I read was the special edition graphic novel that introduces the team. Uh-huh. And I could kind of see the glimpses just from previous covers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool how much this ties in and like how much it has the feel of that old 80s. I say old, but of the 80s, Excalibur run, the original run. And yeah, that was something that just kind of got brought to my attention after finally getting to that in my reading order.
Right. And it's really a shame, like, because a lot of readers and a lot of people that we watch on YouTube have dropped this book. Like, they're like, I can't do it anymore. And I feel like they dropped off either too early or they just, I don't feel like they really gave this book a chance. I mean, I understand. I get that. I totally get the idea of dropping a book. Like, I'm struggling with that with Nick Spencer's Spider-Man, which we're going to talk about tonight. But I just don't think, I don't know, me reading this, and it might be me being a novice reader for X-Men, but I feel like a lot of people jumped off this book too early. Like, I remember when we first started our collecting into the X storyline after House and Powers, and I was trying to figure out what books I was going to pick up, and at the moment I was like, I might not pick up every book, and like one of the comic shop owners was like, yeah, don't pick up Excalibur. And I'm like, but Apocalypse, like, why would you not? You know? And then Excalibur ended up being a huge part of the Ten of Swords, so thank God I picked it up, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, there's been maybe 3 issues that I was like, meh.
Yeah, not a lot.
So, if you're on the fence about Excalibur or you're thinking about dropping it, I wouldn't. I think Howard has a lot more story to tell. And, I mean, there have been many issues within her run that have been really good. Like, when they did the whole, like, different dimensional England where it was being invaded, like, that was a heavy issue. It was like issue 10. That was so good.
Yeah, that was good.
So I have a feeling we're going to get some craziness coming up with the core and obviously with the Hellfire Gala coming up. So that's my pick of the week. And, yeah, man, go pick yourselves up some Excalibur. It's freaking